Warrior women, stand proud and tall. Warrior women, are we all. Speak for the voiceless, look for the lost. Send out the message, no matter the cost. Protect the children, fight for the earth. Stand with conviction and show them your worth. Warrior women, answer the call. Warrior women, one and all.
Can you talk a little bit about how you got started making the Warrior Women?
Sexual abuse and harassment became almost a daily theme, and it was so in my face that there was no way I could not go back and examine my youth and my life as a woman. And so I had to do something with all that angst and emotion and violation and all that sort of stuff. So they got born. Bam! I made them so fast and so furiously. There was nothing proportional about them. The arms had no muscles, no heads. It was just.
What was next?
As those stories, particularly in the New York Times, I had a choice, and some of them gave me visceral reactions or so much empathy or identification with that I was compelled. And I didn't need heads or faces because these are stories that apply to nearly every woman in every culture through time. I was dealing with the stories in the news that were current, and then I started pulling from the past and generalizing some of the past history of women.
Tell me about the fertility series.
After the show in 2018 and then the show in 2020 in St. Simon's, I was ready to build again. I needed an emotional, mental break from all the trauma of what happens to women. I gave myself permission to do something that can be joyful, nice and round and lush. And it was a mental transition and easement back into the stuff that's so hard.
And, of course, your breast cancer series were very personal.
It was a way of processing breast cancer. And, 1 in 6 women will end up with breast cancer at some point in their life. It's a real trauma and a sense of uncertainty to how our lives are lived and how they end. Right after I had the bilateral mastectomy, Luna was little. She was in kindergarten. Anne went to the teacher to tell her that we had some stuff going on at home that might affect Luna in school. And the teacher said, "Oh, we've got a great book on breast cancer specifically for children." And she brought home this little book that referenced pulling weeds to getting rid of cancerous tissue. You pluck it out so you live healthfully. So that's where that came from.
So as far as the actual construction goes, tell me a little bit about how from a thrown pot into a sculpted figure.
I had a show scheduled at OCAF for the transition pieces about my son's suicide, Sam. And they had all the boats and they had a few figures. But OCAF said, "Oh, we've seen these works. We need to see some more new works." So I thought, okay, I'll make big pots. I'll do some big, but I was working in porcelain, and porcelain's like cream cheese. It doesn't stand up very well. So I thought, well, by God, I can skin this cat another way. So I made one large open bowl shape and made another one and then put them on top. And when I sealed them on top to get a really large vase with a little narrow neck, when I saw this torso in front of me, I knew exactly what I needed to do. So that's how they became thrown figures.
I am thinking, a woman's torso here. And all of us are certainly a wide variety. So just about anything works. That's the fortunate thing about that is
Is there another piece or two that you'd like to talk about specifically?
Lorena, she was right at the end of the first series, and she was very powerful. I was so angry and seething over all these reports, so I was building a figure, and I made her stand up straight, bolt upright. And when I was building her, I was feeling myself kind of taking the deep breath and standing upright and feeling powerful. And I think that's the first figure that got weapons. So when I put the 2 axes in her hands, I could feel it. It was empowering me. That was a good figure. That was like stepping up.
Any others you want to tell about?
Yeah, the figure X Gonzalez. I've always got these themes in my head that I'm trying to figure out how to portray them visually. And I've been so affected about the school shootings. I keep going back to Sandy Hook and all those little kids dying. So that's in the back of my mind. I'm figuring out, how can I build this? And then X Gonzalez was in the high school in Florida. She survived that shooting, and it turned her into an activist. She was invited to speak. Her speech included reading all the names of her classmates who had been killed. She stopped at that point and remained at the podium for 6 minutes, so many seconds, without saying a word, which was the length of time that it took to kill her 17 classmates. So I had to make her. So I assigned her the protector and keeper of all the kids who died in school shootings. There were 20 little kids at Sandy Hook. And so I started building all these little figures for her to hold. And there was not room on both arms for all 20 of them. There's just not room. After I built that one, I shut down the studio for about 2 weeks. And I built rock walls and pulled weeds and did what I needed to do to get my emotional strength back.
So do you have an intention of what you would like this show to accomplish or to do?
Yes, basic purpose in all this is to start conversations and for women to feel empowered. I want to make a difference in this world about how women are treated.
Warrior women, 100 plus strong. Warrior women, we all can belong. Warrior women, no longer invisible. Warrior women, we stand for